Marcus, the Fascenario 0.6, I mean, it really is a classic bike in the line. It's won so many awards, and I think it needs a bit of an introduction. This year in Tour magazine, they tested over 2,000 bikes over the past 10 years, and the 0.6 came out best of test. Tell us, I mean, you must be so happy about this.
I am very happy about this. Just imagine, it was my dream to winning tour tests when I started the Storck brand in 1995, and then basically we had the sensational reviews with the Scenario Pro, where we also were having really, done some changes and achievements to really reaching that. And then with the trend in carbon fiber, Tour magazine started to change, the test profile. In the beginning was stiffness to weight, then they added comfort, and new for 2012 was that they added aerodynamic to it. So since 5 years, we were dominating with the 0.7, and then they basically said, please come and send your products in for 2012 test. But by the way, we will go into the wind tunnel, which really was a big surprise for us. And then we said, okay, instead of going in 6 years in a row with an 0.7, we will enter with an 0.6. Because we knew due to the brake integration we would have very good aerodynamic. So Tour magazine had a database of 10 years testing with over 2,000 bikes, and they invited 12 bikes to the second round, which were 6 aero bikes and 6 lightweight bikes. And I was very happy to have 2 bikes in that field, the 0.7 and also the 0.6. And I was very proud when I was reading the result that the 0.6 was, from the lightweight bikes, the bike with the best aerodynamic. And in total we had place number 1 with the 0.6 and place number 5 with the 0.7. And it's like a dream, you just imagine you put so much hard work into it and then you have this result.
So to put that in some kind of perspective, even the most aero-shaped tubes and aero bikes, the 0.6 still beat them in terms of the test?
Not in general, because there were some bikes which had a better aerodynamic, but the ranking there is including all different areas, such as lightweight, stiffness, and comfort, and aerodynamic. And if you take the combination from all, then the Fascenario 0.6 is basically the winner. And you could imagine we didn't have the best aerodynamic bike, but the best lightweight aerodynamic bike. And for 2013, we were working then on the Fascenario, which is then adding another field, basically what the market is asking for. Okay,
so talk us through the bike itself. It's so beautiful. It's a work of art, isn't it? Just take us through the frame set.
Of course, it is manufactured with our VVC process, which is vacuum void control, which means we can eliminate leftover resin in the frame. We use the highest grade carbon fiber material, so to build this super lightweight and to create this stiffness needed, which we feel it's important if you're, for example, going top speed, in the Alps with over 100 or 100 kilometers an hour. By the way, on an 0.6, my personal speed record last year was 96, and I was quite happy with that. And you do need to have material where you can trust when you're going that speed. Then what we have is, of course, the proportional tubing, which is coming with all the road models, which means smaller frame, smaller dimension, larger frame, larger dimension. Of course, we have carbon cups. We have the press fit BB. By the way, we're doing this press fit BB now for nearly a decade now. Then we changed the color for 2013. The frame now comes in a wonderful matte, so it has a real stealthy look to it. And of course it comes with the Scapula F fork, which has the brake integration, and also the rear brakes are integrated into the frame. I just have a brake lever, so that gives you an idea on the weight of the brake arms. The weight on the brake arms is 50 grams, which is a third of a Dura-Ace brake.
I mean, this looks like Formula One technology, doesn't it? I mean, it's amazing. How long did it take you to develop something like this?
For me, it's beyond Formula One, because Formula One is talking in 100 grams, and we're basically talking in grams. So what was interesting, it was more difficult to set a new standard for the brake assembling in in the factories than it was to develop the brake arm itself. So it's quite complex. If you create a new standard, then you really have to explain to everybody in the supply chain how it is manufactured, what tolerances you have, so you create something which is totally new. But the key point to do the brakes was quite simple. Instead of using thinner and thinner layup work with a carbon fiber, well, I personally feel it's quite critical, because if a frame fails, then it would basically explode. I decided to lower the weight by having system integration. So the beginning we had the cups integrated for the BB, then for the headset, and now we integrated the brakes. So if you then take the weight saving out from the brakes, basically that's how the weight of the freight counts down. And therefore we call it an 0.6, because if you really reduce and you take all this system integration and you calculate it down, that's how we are able to achieve that weight.
And what's the brake ratio with the new integrated brakes? How does that work?
It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio on the brakes, which means they have a higher leverage, so you get an outstanding power out from it. And it's a carbon fiber leaf spring, so we don't have any mechanical parts, and we tried them for a couple 100,000 times braking, and they're well enough even after a couple 100,000 times braking.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual frame set for 2013, the weight and the combination. Tell us about that.
If you look on the weight, and we call it a fuselage, which means the fork, then the frame, the headset, the bottom bracket, and the crank arms, and the brakes, we're at 1,550 grams average weight, which is another world record we set there.